Morning, everyone. We're all packed up now. Ragnar's ready to go. Skyline Drive so far has been absolutely beautiful. Really peaceful and quiet. Up until I'd say last night. I think if you can come on a weekday, probably especially during the off season, then it's going to be a really enjoyable experience for you. If you come on a weekend, there's all sorts of people out here, and it's really not too bad still. It's actually still pretty remote, a lot of solitude, that kind of thing. But there's always, every time I come on a road versus a trail, it always reminds me of why I prefer trails, because there's a very small subset. You know, there's a population of people that have a lot of toys. They come out here, they enjoy themselves. That's cool. That's a great way to spend the outdoors for some people. And then there's a very small subset of that, of people who usually younger, usually probably in a lot of debt from getting toys that they really shouldn't be able to afford. And they're just out here bombing the roads 60 miles an hour at 2 a.m. at night, as loud as they can, is how I'll say it. But it just reminds me of why I prefer trails. So, I mean, that's what you get when you come out here and you take the roads. But honestly, it's been a very pleasant experience otherwise. Our spring that we're heading to, because I'm down to just a couple of cups of water at this point. It's actually just Gatorade. I'm skipping breakfast because I didn't really have water for breakfast to use for breakfast. And so the spring is going to be about 2 miles away. Hopefully it's there. We'll see. Following these guys for about a quarter mile now. I think they have 4 or 5 dogs with them as well. Down there is the city of Fairview. Looks like there's a trail that goes down this way. I'm not sure exactly where that leads, but my wife will be coming up through Fairview to pick me up. There is a paved part of the road ahead. Still another probably, 12 miles or so from here. But yeah, it's been a pretty quiet trip and I haven't really had a lot to say. Yeah, and I don't really mind that. I know it doesn't make for good footage, but it's made for a really peaceful walk. So I've been enjoying myself. That's the most important thing to me. So I hope I can at least give you some inspiration, or living vicariously through me by watching this. But other than that, I'm really just out here to enjoy myself. It's funny because the more people that I've gotten to know in my YouTube community, the more I realize there are thousands of people out there that are enjoying the outdoors. They don't record it. They don't sit there and try and think, how can I make money off of it? They're just out there enjoying it. And that's what the vast majority of people out there are doing. So there's definitely a huge community out there that's way more outdoorsy than me. But I'm thankful that I get to document at least some of it. Because yeah, I just review it later on my own, and it reminds me of the good times that I have out here, especially in times where it's not very peaceful. So yeah, it's awesome. Okay, there is a very small trail here right by the sign. I'm hoping this will lead right to the spring. I'm not seeing any springs down there. I'm not seeing any change in the foliage. Usually that helps indicate where spring is too. It could just be an intermittent spring here in the springtime, and that's it. So I may be asking for water from passers-by on the road. I don't see any spring around here. I don't see anything. I don't see any little trails going down over the ridge here. I'm going to be having to bushwhack my way into the woods here to see if there's going to be any actual spring here. But we are at Johnson Ridge, and the map says there's a spring here. Maybe somewhere, but sometimes they're really hard to find, and sometimes you can't even get water from them. You know, they're just dry at certain times of year. So we are almost all out of water. Ragnar's out of her supply entirely. I have just a little bit left. Yeah, just a little bit of Gatorade left, maybe like a cup. And that's not going to get us another 5 miles until the next supposed spring on the map. Well, it looks like the celebration of getting halfway through Utah is going to start by having no water. Yeah, not much of a celebration. There's plenty of people coming through. I'm sure they're real nice. I hate to bother them, but really I just really want to find this spring. But I don't think it exists. Got some beautiful landscapes, but still no water. Alright, looks like Ragnar found some water that she can have. It's not the best, but it's something. Oh man, that's got a lot of scum on it. Ragnar, stop. That looks like algae. Stop, Ragnar. That's got a lot of algae in it. And it may or may not be toxic. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dig a hole next to this and let Ragnar drink out of it. I'm just going to go in this deepest part I can find here and dig down a little bit more, but this ultra fine clay, it's going to get so gummed up in my water filter. It's going to be pretty bad. But I think I can still manage. It's just going to get clogged up by that really fine particulate clay. I'll give it a shot though, see how much water we can get. There it is. Coming through. It does look clear. Let's see how far we can get before the filter just won't work anymore. It looks pretty clear, but I can't trust it really. The particle size of the filter is down to a pretty good level, I think, for biological things, but I'm not sure if the toxins that the algae produce, again, this is probably just way more caution than I need to have, but the toxins produced by the algae, they can just be chemical compounds, is what I think they are. In that case, I might have to denature them by boiling them. I hope that that's what will help to denature them. Yeah, not an ideal situation. I've got all these bottles filled up. I'm just going to let them sit in the sun for a little bit. That's more for microorganisms, which the filter should have taken care of more. I'm more worried about the toxin. So I'm going to boil this as well. I've got plenty of time is the good thing. That's what I have on my side. Plenty of time. It's still another 5 miles before the next spring on the map, which from the last spring on the map, I couldn't find it, so I'm not going to rely on that. I'll take whatever puddles I can get. It did get pretty slow filtering towards the end, towards the last bottle, but you know, I still was able to do it. It's just slow. So I'll get this boiled up and then have to cool it down before I can probably drink it. And then I do have some tang if there's some nasty taste to it. But I'm hoping that if there are any kind of algae toxins in there, that boiling it will denature those chemicals or proteins or whatever they are. I'll have to look it up exactly what it is, but boiling I don't think will hurt, so I'll do that. After returning home, I realized why, even though we hear about algae toxins in the news quite a bit, we don't hear more about how to deal with them, other than to avoid them. It turns out there are many types of harmful algae and many toxins. They are varied and complex, and only identified through mass spectrometry. With my chemistry background, I would guess that many of these compounds do not get destroyed through boiling. Even visually identifying toxic algae is very difficult and unclear. I'm not a physician, but my suggestion for dealing with potentially toxic water sources like this would be 1. Avoid drinking if you see algae, that's pretty obvious. 2. Use a sized-based filter system. Basically your standard hiking filter that you're going to use as a hiker in pretty much any situation. Also, number 3, nothing new. Boil water. That may not remove everything, but it's not going to hurt your chances. And 4 is a little bit different and outside of what most hikers would do, and that is an activated charcoal filter that you can add to your existing filter. Distillation would be the best method, but not practical for backpacking, obviously. But I think combining all these practices would give you the best chance of not getting sick if you had to get water from one of these sources, which on the Great Western Trail, you probably will. It finally cooled down enough to drink, so I've been enjoying my hot orange flavored beverage in the middle of the day. It is quite refreshing considering I'm very dehydrated. We're going to go rest in the shade of these trees for a little bit, have some lunch. Technically a brunch because I skipped breakfast because I really wanted to get to that spring which didn't exist, but it worked out anyway. We made it to what is supposed to be Camp 2, somewhere down there, maybe as far as a quarter-mile away. There is a spring. I imagine this drainage will turn into a creek at some point, but where that is anybody's guess. In the meantime, I'm just going to enjoy some shade underneath this magnificent pine tree. And enjoy the view. Is that a cabin over there? That's totally a cabin. Dang. Look at that. How'd you like to live there? Man, that would be awesome. Well, I hate to be without water again tonight. Every step I take going down that drainage is a step I'm going to be having to take back up to Skyline Drive, so I am going to risk it, and I might end up camping somewhere down there if it's too far. That's the kind of vegetation that I'm looking for when I'm looking for a spring. Definitely looks a lot darker in there. There's a good chance that there might be flowing water on the surface, but also a good chance that maybe it's just underneath. So far this spring has been dried out. I've got higher hopes as we go down further. I did find the spring. Let me show you what we got. It's just a mud hole. There is standing water there. If you needed to, you could dig down. I'm hoping that this starts to accumulate. It looks like Ragnar found some. I'm hoping this starts to leak all throughout this whole mountainside and starts to sequester a little bit more into a stream. Let's go down a little bit further. It has converged into a stream now, if you can call it that. I'm going to keep going and see if it gets any better. This is still quite shallow. I'm probably going to have to settle for one of these cesspools here. They're a few inches deep. Kind of got some critters floating around in there, but it should be fine to filter. It's like this is going to be the best spot in this area for the spring. Let me show you where I'm at so you can reference it later. There's a road over there. Ragnar can't handle the cattle guards. He's a scaredy. Right over here. I didn't know it then, but Ragnar had every reason to be afraid of these cows. I've crossed hundreds of herds by this point, and from my interaction with these cows, I strongly believe that the rancher handling these cows is not responsible with them at all. Whatever operation owns these, your cows act way different than all others I've come across. There is a bull behind there. Oh, they don't like that at all. That was scary. I think that was the closest I've come to thinking that these cows might actually charge me. There's a bull leading the front there. I'm just going to try and stay out of their way. Maybe I can skirt around off to the left there. I'll try and do that. Okay, that was crazy, y'all. I'm still a little bit amped up, so I actually unholstered on that. I didn't see him coming, but I was looking ahead, and off to my right, there was a big old herd of cattle. Didn't think much of it. I've walked through plenty of them over the course of the Footslog. Never thought twice about it, ever. And then I heard one making a lot of ruckus coming from behind us. Big old moo. I turned around, and there was a group of, there was a couple of them that were leading, and then a few more behind. But one of them had horns, and I was like, oh crap, is that a bull? I don't know if it's a bull, steer, whatever. It's got horns. I'm looking out for it. So I backed up. I was on this side of the road, backed up, kind of squaring it off. It starts kind of storming towards me, like trotting my way. Two of them. There's one with a white face and one with the horns. And they start coming up, and they were literally right across the road. So just another maybe 20, 25 feet. And I unholstered at that point. I was like, oh crap, this thing is going to charge straight at us. And right at that moment, a truck came by and gave us a little bit more distance. Just like kind of went blazing through, waved hi to him, and then I started backing off. Holstered again at that point. It looked like the cows were a little bit discouraged. So I backed off of the road and then let them go through. So that was a little bit crazy. That's cows, man, come on. Really? But I guess they're just like any other animal. You still got to be a little bit careful with them. I guess probably, I imagine up here too in the mountains, they're used to having to kind of stand up for themselves a little bit more than just being on a ranch or something. But man, when I saw that one with horns, I was like, oh crap, this is gonna get bad. But I'm sure they wouldn't have cared if Ragnar wasn't with me. But I mean, what can I do? So we backed off, and then we skirted way off to the left of them until we got by. And as you can see, they're, well, maybe you can't see, but they're way behind. So, whew, just got to find a camp for tonight now. Of all the things, could you imagine A stupid cow putting an end to me after all the worry about bears, cougars, moose, whatever. A cow. Whew. Not today. Little did I know, that was just the beginning of my troubles. We got another cow coming our way and he's making all sorts of noise. I don't know if he's really angry at us. He sees Ragnar. We'll clear out going off to the right though. This thing is still super angry. I think what we'll try and do is cross this fence. It'll be hard to get Ragnar through, but then at least we'll be able to get a little bit further past these monstrosities. He's making like he's coming over here. You better move along, friend. I'm gonna mess you up. We are way off the road, giving you plenty of room. These cows, man, these cows are out of control. Whoever is in charge of these cows, man, must beat them every day. Couldn't get it on film because I'm down to my last little bit of data, but one of those cows came right up off the road, straight at us. I raised my walking sticks in the air and yelled at them, and it finally scared it off. This is documentation now that I've got to get through here. There's no other way for me to go to get where I need to go to get food, water, and if I have to hurt one of these things, so be it. Still trying to make it through cow country. Dear viewer, please understand, at this point I had made several attempts at avoiding confrontation. In spite of that, I ran into yet another angry animal trying to force my hand into a deadly confrontation. I knew I could legally defend myself on a public road, but I was extremely irritated that it would lead to a nasty legal battle and perhaps a lot of money. And that irritation is why I responded the way I did, and also, as you'll see, why I actually went as far as calling 911. I was about 80% sure things were about to go down. I am pissed. I am pissed. They've got a herding dog out there. If this dog messes me up, I have got to get where I'm going. I'm on a public road. I am gonna F things up. All right, here's a quick situation. We got a cattle dog up ahead. I think there's gonna be trouble. I literally had to call 911 to get somebody to come and help me out because I know there's gonna be trouble. So we have to sit and wait here probably for a long time while somebody comes up to help me out. This is ridiculous. I've been halfway through Utah, never had cattle like this before. So looks like we're gonna safely make it through. This is ridiculous. I can't believe it was cows of all things, but we're making it through. Guys, it is super embarrassing to say that I called 911 over some cows.
We just keep going.
But you got to understand, I basically wanted thorough documentation at this point that I did everything I could to avoid killing a dog or a cow. The cop basically said, give it a go. Luckily this time, we got away. Some deer coming through. It's the first animals we've seen, apart from cows. So I've got a nice camp set up in this little grove of aspen trees. Stars have come out. It's looking beautiful. I think it's going to be a great night. Didn't have time to set up the predator net, but don't really care. I'm feeling pretty confident, so it's going to be a good night. See you in the morning. Guess who's back? We are on the other side of the cattle guard. I could have sworn I saw one on this side though. They're trying to get after me. See you later, chumps. So after a fairly rough night, just because I was sleeping on some pretty hard ground, up this morning, we've only got a couple miles to go thanks to the cows chasing us. So it's just going to be a brisk morning stroll and then we'll be there. This is where I was going to meet my wife for pickup, but we're quite early, so we're going to continue down that road over there to a pond. I think it might be a beaver pond. About another mile and a half. This is where we're going to pick up next time.